there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Degrassi video. Today I take a look at one of the most underrated characters in the show by the name of Conor Delorier. And I want to ask the question, did Degrassi shed light on Conor's autism clearly, or did they drop the ball? I think that as somebody who suffers from Aspergers syndrome, like Conor, I feel like I needed to put my personal opinion on this. So basically, yeah. So anyway, a little background on Conor. Well, the weird thing about Conor is in a Reddit post by Ellie Yuki, who's usually a contributor to some of my posts, she says, I just realized that Conor's friends left within the show. Wesley and Dave basically were his best friends, but they got blackholed or basically just kicked off the show, if you will. Adam was dead. Casey moves away. And then somehow he dates Jenna out of nowhere. Delightful Cheers said they should have had a great plot line showing Conor trying to come to terms with loneliness and not having any friends. I mean, Conor and Jenna were a thing. I liked it, though, too. And, yeah. I know. They said they did that stuff to Toby. So, anyway. A little background on Conor. The godson of Snake Simpson. He's highly intelligent, though, has social difficulties, and he has Aspergers syndrome. Following a series of women's underwear stealing incidents, he's suspended and sent to school at Bolton, a program that teaches kids like Conor coping skills. He does join Degrassi Backfirst Jr. and joined the football team. Best friends with Casey, Wesley, and Dave. He's also friends with Claire, Allie, Adam, Dallas, and Mo, and dated his other best friend, Jenna. So Conor was introduced in season 8 as the geeky and smart godson of Archie Simpson, who is living with Snake and Spike in order to attend the gifted program at Degrassi. He is shown to be obsessive about keeping things the same, sitting at the same desk, wearing the same clothes, etc. But he becomes quick friends with Claire, Casey, and Ali. So basically, Conor wants to ask Claire to the sweetheart dance, but Casey also asks too. Claire rejects them both and decides to go with Casey, making Conor feel rejected. Conor tries to figure a way to get Claire to come to the dance. He gets his robot to say, Claire, come to the dance with Conor. Basically, Conor wants to be on the dance floor with Claire. Unfortunately, though, she leaves after feeling uncomfortable. Conor is pissed off. Anyway, Coffee and Commotion was the great show that dealt with autism, and we finally found out about Conor. So anyway, the chef accidentally trips over Conor's lamp that he has next to his computer and gives him detention. Claire tries to stick up for Conor by buying everyone in the class a lamp to put on their desk so that Conor can keep his. But the chef decides to give him all detentions. Conor's tapping his pencil into detention, and Ali basically asks him to stop. But unfortunately, Conor overreacts and spits on her. So anyway, Ali and Conor have the problems. The chef decides to kick Conor out of school despite Simpson's pleas. Claire actually decides to go to the Simpson house and talk to him and all that. And he has a breakdown and wants to leave Degrassi. She sees that all his clothes are the same. Claire's a little confused about this. And he has a meltdown. So basically, Claire ends up, Conor says, why do you wear the same clothes every day? Claire wears her private school uniform. Claire comes out of her uniform. Simpson actually tells her calmly that Conor has Aspergers syndrome, and it's hard for him to learn social skills and rules. Initially, Claire is unaccepting of this fact, but basically provides some insight on Conor's conundrum. Basically, when they do the Chef's Principal of the Year video, he gives his thank you speech. Claire decides to talk to the chef, but the chef wouldn't have anything on it. And basically, chef calls Claire a little bitch and walks out. So anyway, yeah, it's amazing about Connor and all that. Now I'm going to interject with some personal things too. So yeah, Aspergers syndrome. Now Connor being diagnosed with this in grade 8, which was like what, 13 or 14 years old. That's pretty young. Me by comparison, yeah, it lasted longer. I was 20 years old when I got diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. I was always different, and my parents always knew that I was different and all that. And yeah, I sometimes did stuff like Connor did, like pushing people and all that. I was obsessive over girls. I did some obsessive compulsive things that I honestly suck at, you know? That I really regret my decisions and all that. I used to do bad things in school too. Like, and I occasionally went to therapy and all that to try to fix it. But unfortunately, therapy ended at age 10. I don't know what the hell happened. Was it lack of funds? Was it CPRI? The thing, just saying, well, we can't help him any further and all that. Of course, a lot of people said, well, what is with him? What does he have? What does he suffer from? And then, I leave my parents' farm and move to Kitchener, where I am now. And basically, I go to Conestoga College, and my brother actually finds out that there's something for people with disabilities. I always knew I had disabilities and all that. I was put in special ed, but not like in the slow class. But basically, special ed was to help you with your homework and all that. I used to get a lot of A's and, like, study aids and, stuff and all that. I remember in grade 11, in world history class, having my problems, and Mr. Colling, God bless his soul, actually realized something about me. And then he realized that, I would try to find patterns in his tests and all that. And I would be obsessed with the patterns, even though that some of my answers were wrong. So basically, he said that if I take tests with them, with him rethinking the questions, so he rewords the questions and all that I would understand. And so basically, what would happen is that I would do that. He said you should do that, and I remember a few tests. I did with him. It was outside the class. I took the test by myself and all that. And he said, well, this is what happens. It means this. And, a lot of things are double meaning. So, yeah, so I did very well. Without his intervention, I would not have done as well. I was sliding, but I got my grade up from 55 to 65 within the last term. So basically, yeah, so I jumped 10% on the last term. And, things looked good for me, in a sense. I went to special ed to basically do, exams and all that, because, you get more time and you get help on the questions without giving the answers, of course. And, of course, that was always my big problems with tests, is that, I tense up and all that, and I need more time, because, I'm trying to think everything through. With me, it's I have tons of thoughts that go across my head, and, of course, I can't commit to either writing them down or speaking orally enough. So yeah, I had that problem, and at age 20, when I went to college and all that, they got a psychiatrist to give me some tests and all that, and basically she said that my math skills and my reading skills were pretty good, but writing things down and comprehension was not for me. And, that led to Asperger's syndrome, which by definition is basically someone with social awkwardness, but is pretty intelligent. Not super smart, but intelligent in a sense. And also people with Asperger's syndrome or autism basically spend obsessive times, that's what they put it, with stuff. Me, well, if you know my personal history and sports trivia and all that, you would understand. So basically, and I'll get back to the Conor situation shortly, I promise. But basically, a frank discussion is basically, lost my train of thought. That's what happens sometimes. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, my sports trivia. That basically, when I was 24, now I'm 35 now, so I was born in 85. So when I was 24, that was 2009. Buzz Time, the bar trivia game, had a competition for sports trivia that the winners got to go to the Bahamas and hang out with celebrities like Tony Hawk, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Bobby Hall. And they're like regionals. East, West, North, and South or something for the United States. Now, of course, it was kind of biased towards Canadians. Canadians were allowed to enter, but the Canadians were actually all of Canada was put in with Western United States, which was stupid in a sense. But anyway, what I was about to say is that, I ended up competing in the regionals on a Thursday. I actually won the regional. I didn't just qualify. I won the regional. I beat everybody in the Western United States and Canada on that day. So I got to go to the Bahamas. Sadly, though, the pipe dream of meeting celebrities and great sports stars went poof. There was some kind of poker problems because there were poker players. There was going to be a poker tournament. Unfortunately for me, I never got to see the celebrities. I still went to the Bahamas, even though that I felt like I really should not have went to the Bahamas because I was featured in the newspaper. But unfortunately for me, it was a pipe dream. I still went to the Bahamas, but that was my sports trivia highlight, and I was 24 at the time. Yeah, I got a ton of sports trivia books, a ton of sports PS2 games. Well, I used to have a PS3, but it conked out on me, so I was back to my PS2, which I'm happy with. I mean, I've been doing series on my Cutter Historical channel, especially NCAA football tournaments and all that. Yeah, so I got a lot of sports games for obvious reasons because I'm sports, and then I do the rosters, like historical rosters, because I want to. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have other games, like I have the UFC PS2 game, Pride FC, Showdown Legends of Wrestling, Trivial Pursuit, NBA Street, a lot of games that don't have customization. But anyway, so I got diagnosed at 20 for that. So that is Conor to a T. So let's see. Of course, the video about Shep calling Claire a bitch happens in front of the whole school. They all walk out on him wanting no more Shep. So Shep ended up being put in sensitivity training for a couple of months. And with Shep gone and Snake as interim principal, Snake gets to put Conor back to Degrassi, and he's relieved to have his Aspergers SYndrome diagnosis. People will share their struggles and all that. Conor tries to have Casey and Claire get back together after they have differences, but it doesn't really work out. So yeah, Conor does decently. He still has feelings for Claire, but knows that he can't ruin it. Now, Conor actually meets Dave in season 9, and Dave helps him out with his basketball and social skills. So, anyway. Yeah, so Conor keeps stats for basketball, and Ethan, the guy who bullies him, basically is the least valuable team member. Conor likes Casey, but in Heart Like Mine, he talks to Casey about Casey's problems with Coach Carson and all that. So yeah, Conor doesn't realize that the coach was having troubles and all that. Yeah. So Conor and Dave are great and all that. They get into a friendship with Wesley and become the three tenors, as in grade 10s that basically want to, be part of a a group together. So yeah, they do a lot of bands and all that. So yeah, they do a few songs and all that. And everything's fine. Conor has problems and all that. Conor has problems with RPGs, and that's when the big problem happens. Because Conor gets obsessed with someone who shares his RPG skills, and basically, they talk and all that. Conor's online girlfriend. Simpson tries to put a stop to Conor's obsession and all that. And it seemed to work for a while in season 10. But Conor reconnected and found out it was a middle-aged woman who basically wanted to take advantage of Conor. So basically, Simpson is not too pleased about it. Love Queen 16. So yeah, Conor is not really good at all that. Conor wants to keep chatting with Love Queen 16. And all that. She ends up being a creep. And tells Conor he should be lucky to have Dave and Wesley. Simpson is furious with Conor. Conor says he can't live without a computer. But Simpson says he can't give in. And then Simpson tells him that, why don't you just use notebooks? Well, of course, Conor basically finds out that Love Queen is a freaking leaves and tears dry on their own. Mr. Simpson realizes that Conor almost got in trouble, but Conor tells him everything with the photographic memory. Simpson basically says that the only video games you're going to be playing will be Frogger. Conor understands and they play Frogger with Mr. Simpson, with David Wesley. So anyway, unfortunately, so what we see is obsession with someone online. Now, me personally, that never has happened because I'm not really good with online relationships. But the fact of the matter is, personally, and I won't admit this, and I shouldn't really admit this, but I will, is that I was obsessed over girls and all that to the point that it seems stalkerish in a sense. I had crushes on how many girls? 2, 3, 4. Had many crushes on 4 girls in high school. And they're all, I think, married, I think all 4 of them are. Oh, no. I think one's not married, but anyway, I don't hook up on them. I know they all have Facebook posts, and I'm actually Facebook friends with one of the 4, but not the other 3. Because I think they don't really connect on Facebook. Yeah. Those 3, yeah. So basically, I'm only friends with one of them. And, truth be told, I still had feelings for her, but the fact of the matter is I knew that if I did something about it as an adult, it wouldn't get me to jail. It'd probably put me in an institute, or a loony bin, if you will. So basically, I backed off my thinking. I want them to be happy and all that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be with a girl and all that. But I think those relationships were one-sided. They didn't love me back. They liked me back, but they didn't love me back. And of course, my sexual preference. Am I asexual? No. I mean, I love girls, and I wish I'd be with one that shares everything. But basically, I have a lot of baggage, if you will, with my personal life. Then I don't know if they'll live with it, if they can accept it or not. Truth be told. So anyway, basically, yeah, so Conor goes with a girl. I mean, it's normal to have feelings towards girls. And no, I am not bias towards people from the LGBTQ2 community and all that. The truth of the matter is, I barely know anyone from that community, so basically, I don't have enough knowledge of how they feel and all that. Basically, what I go by with their struggles is basically what's on the news and all that. But personally, no. Like, I can understand their issues and all that. The world is not a good place for someone who, like, frets and all that. I do fret a lot. So anyway, Conor goes through the storyline with making an app to do a contest, but he steals girls' underwear so that he can do his app, which is dealing with clothing and all that. I mean, it's a bright idea and all that, but his obsessiveness gets no bounds. I really wanted an app and all, to make an app and all that, but I'm not that computer literate though, so basically I failed miserably. So anyway, yeah, Conor and all that. Conor creates the application for the Degrassi App Challenge, an outfit chooser that selects clothes you should wear based on how you feel and where you're going. Unfortunately, Conor enters the girls' locker room and steals clothes, but actually also tries to take photographs and all that. Yeah, takes photographs, but he steals it. Conor was in the locker room after Allie noticed that one of the sweaters in the app was a sweater that one of her relatives knitted for her. He said he was only in the locker room to take pictures of the girls' clothes. So basically, he ends up telling Archie that it was him in the locker room and stole the underwear, and they had to bring a counselor. Simpson actually calms down Conor using techniques that he knows how to do. The counselor says it's normal for him to have teenage boy hormones, but he acted inappropriately. Conor is suspended and moves to Bolton and all that. Conor actually cleans out his locker and gives Wesley the flash drive that could help him win the app challenge. He will be back somehow. And basically, Conor comes back and all that. So, yeah, so Conor and Jenna have a nice, decent relationship and all that. All that. Conor asks Jenna to the prom with a promposal outside of school grounds, wearing an astronaut costume. That's funny and all that. So Connor's in the student council office about Drew's ban from prom, which Pill basically did. Conor is now going to California Institute of Technology. And he gives his valedictorian speech. I forgot what it was. Okay, well, sorry, I have to click on the link. His speech was this. So you see, I learned many things at Degrassi, but not from the classes. They were too easy. They say it is the journey, not the destination. Well, they are wrong. It is not our mistakes along the journey that matter. It's where we end up that counts. Carl Sagan said somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. I wish you luck in finding the destination in which you encounter the incredible. Thank you. So yeah, Conor gets to be valedictorian because Miss Pill overreacted. I think, right? Yeah, Claire is valedictorian with Teenage Riot. Yeah, Teenage Riot is the one that Claire blows her stack at Pill. So yeah, anyway, so trivia on personal stuff. Okay, so yeah, his relationship and then gets valedictorian in high school. High school, I was okay in, but I wasn't really that fantastic in it. And I didn't do like academic honors and all that. So yeah, shows how much I am. I mean, after high school, I took a gap year and then got accepted to the Conestoga College for computer technology. And basically, it took me longer than normal. It took me 4 years to get a 3-year program. Well, it was kind of a 2-year program, but then they added on a year while I was still there. So basically Sorry about that. I don't know why my throat is going badly. It's not what you think. Basically, I believe that, yeah, so my journey took me through college and all that. Why it took me longer to go through college than I should have? Well, it's based on the real life problems I have dealing with asking people for help and all that. It's not just asking people for help. It's the fact of how you ask for help and all that. Because I do have tendencies to freeze when I know I need to ask somebody for something. I tend to freeze and all that and just stand there, frozen for like a few minutes before it finally gets out of my mouth. I mean, yeah, I'm terrible at that, which I admit. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, so basically to end the personal stuff and not the Conor stuff, that, being autistic is not that easy and all that. The government, my government in Ontario, although we have the most people with autism and we're the richest and the highest populated province in Canada, it doesn't mean that autistic people get lucky breaks and all that. Now, I get a dividend each month from Ontario Disability Support Program. Basically, they give you a certain amount of money based on your disability and based on if you can work or not. I do have a job. I have a job right now, so I don't get as much ODSP than other people. But remember, I get massive paychecks, so that's it. So they take a certain percentage away from my paychecks. Like, they give me a base salary of ODSP, and then they take off a certain amount of money from that check because of me working and all that. So yeah, I think it varies from month to month because of how much I get paid a month. I think probably. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I know a lot of provinces and states have the disability support programs, and there's probably a lot of provinces and states that basically have problems dealing with, the problem with the autism in Ontario is not for the adults. Well, it is partially for the adults because our premier froze a massive pay hike that we would have gotten, people with disabilities would have gotten if we still kept the Liberals in provincial politics, but it ended up being PC. So yeah, that sucked. But it's got to do with the kids, with autistic kids and all that. It's like, things are different with dealing with autistic children within the system. Like 30 years ago when I started school and all that, it was a whole lot different. And people practically gave up on me. People used to tease me, bully me and all that. I was an accidental bully. I will be the first to admit that. But anyway, yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy too, but, I know that a lot of my inexperiences and my negativity has gotten into my head and all that. But I know I can do what I put my mind to it. But sometimes I just can't. But autism is nothing to be laughed at. Autism is to be understood. It's like the LGBTQ2 movement. It's like Black Lives Matter movement. It's like it's the movement to prevent Indigenous people from being, hated on. It's the movement to defund the police, which I don't think is a smart move. Like, to cut police budgeting, in a sense, for programs that deal with triggers that make people criminals. That I understand. But you can't block the police because it's going to basically mean open season for criminals to actually kill people and say, oh, nobody's going to help you. The police won't help you because nobody cares about you. Do I think the police should be defunded? No. Should have defund as in put some money into social programs? Yes. Because some cities have inner city areas that basically cause a lot of trouble. Kitchener is no different. Well, too. Yeah, they should cut the police budget for people who really need help, like people with disabilities or housing or homelessness, but not to not like erase everything, because the police will have nothing to go by, and basically if you get assaulted and all that, and the police might be powerless to help you. I hope that doesn't happen, because it's going to be a black mark in our history and all that. Just like those movements. There's a movement on foot. Lives matter. No matter what nationality you are, not just what color you are or anything else. Everyone matters. Except hardened criminals. They don't matter. So anyway, that's my personal experiences. Now let's see some trivia about Conor. Okay, so despite wearing the same outfit in every episode in season 8, Conor actually changes his outfits in season 9. He's in the gifted program. He actually was one of 3 characters to meet someone online and eventually in person. Emma and Darcy were the other 2. Emma, of course, met Jordan, quote unquote Jordan, a mother and child reunion. And basically, Simpson helps it. I completely forgot when I did the Simpson case study, I forgot to mention that Simpson had to deal with Conor's obsession with someone over online gameplay in season 10. So anyway, yeah, and Darcy met someone online because she was sending racy photos of herself, and met the guy Adams, who was a creeper and all that. But Peter should have been blamed too. Conor is one of 8 characters with a mental disability, which is Aspergers syndrome. The other 7 are Anya and Zoe with her dyslexia. Zoe was dyslexia. I didn't know that. Joey has dysgraphia. Liberty has dyscalculia. Dysgraphia, I think it has something to do, some kind of learning thing. But Liberty's dyscalculia is basically trouble with math. Spinner with his ADHD, which was only basically bought out in a few episodes. And Craig and Eli with their bipolar disorder. Well, you could add Esme as bipolar or whatever, because we never got to know. Conor was the second character to be molested in a car, to almost be molested in a car. The first was Wheels, who nearly got molested by a stranger while he was hitchhiking to try to find his real dad. Conor is the first character in Degrassi history to develop an obsession with girls' underwear. Conor has pushed Allie down twice. Conor has a Twitter. He had a crush on Claire and Jenna, which both of them dated Casey. He has a photographic memory, and Zoe even has a photographic memory. Zoe? He doesn't like the idea of sex, so that makes him asexual. The RPG Realm of Doom, Conor was the first main character to play it. Hunter and Becky would play it later. Wow. Conor was sexually assaulted alongside 16 other characters. Wow, that's amazing. 16 other characters. List of sexually assaulted characters. That's what Degrassi Wiki is telling me to go through. Okay, might as well. Paige, Darcy, Bianca, and Zoe were raped. Paige was raped by Dean, who got off scot-free. Darcy was raped by an unknown guy at a ski party. Bianca was raped, I guess, by Vince, because Vince forced Bianca to be his bitch in exchange for leaving Drew alone. And Zoe was raped by Luke and another boy. And of course, Becky was conflicted to either help her brother or put her brother in jail. There were 8 attempted rapes. Stephanie, I didn't know Stephanie was someone tried to rape her. Derek, aka Wheels. Emma by Jordan, I guess. Fiona by Bobby, I think. Conor by Love Queen 16. Allie was attempted to be raped by somebody, I can't remember who. Maybe Drew. Bianca by Vince, I guess, and Maya. Who tried to rape Maya? I don't remember. Yeah. Oh, Stephanie meets a soap opera star who tries to force himself on her. Wheels with the hitchhiker. Emma with Jordan. Fiona because of Bobby. Connor with Love Queen. Drew. Yeah, Drew. Oh, no, sorry. Owen tried to rape her instead of Drew. Okay. It was Anson who... Anson tried to rape her, and then Drew comes in, fights Anson, and then Bianca puts a cinder block outside Anson's head. And Maya attempted to be raped by Sig, and yes means yes. Oh, yeah. Lucy and Susie both were tried to be groomed by Mr. Colby. And, of course, Lucy realizes it and tries to help Susie out with things. Casey, sexual harassment by Coach Carson, because Coach Carson tries to hook Casey up with a prostitute. Claire was nearly raped by Asher. Maya by, I guess, Neil? Wait a minute. Wasn't Neil the guy who also tried to rape Zoe alongside Luke? Okay. Liz was sexually abused. Jane was sexually abused by her father. All that. Drew might have been sexually assaulted. It was debatable. Holly J, that was debatable. Winston was groped. Winston was actually groped by Mr. Yates, and Mr. Yates tried to be with Tristan. And Jenna was groped by Luke. Okay. All right then. Connor's parents either met at Degrassi or Banting because of the timeline for how they knew Snake and chose him to be Connor's godfather. Connor was valedictorian. The first male valedictorian since Marco. He can't drive on highways. I can't drive anywhere. I have a fear of driving myself. Connor shares similar with Jimmy and Toby. And basically that's it. So that's amazing. Connor lived an interesting life. Now, of course, the main question is, did Degrassi do Connor right by talking about his autism? It depends on what you're expecting and all that. I would say yes, because at least they said it, and they were talking about it. But I also would say no, they should have just added on more of it. But I think, Connor being asexual does not have anything to do with autism and all that. It doesn't mean all people with autism are asexual. I know lots of autistic people who actually have boyfriends or girlfriends and are actually married. That's pretty impressive. So anyway, yeah. For me, I think that Degrassi at least did the right thing by talking about it. They didn't show it in a heftier light than I should have seen. But you know what? At least they acknowledged it. I'll take that as a win in my book. So anyway, thanks for watching this video, and there'll be more Degrassi videos in the future.